Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Greetings everyone. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan. Good afternoon everyone. I hope you are on your best condition even though we have spent a year quarantine at home. Let me introduce myself. My name is Hasni and it's precious chance for me to be your master of ceremony on this very special occasion, Kenalan. As a representative of Trisakti Landscape Student Association, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you. We appreciate you taking time of your busy schedules to join us today. First of all, let us praise and thanks to God for blessings that given to all of us so that we can gather here in good health amid this pandemic. Before we start this event, I would like to thanks to our Honorable Mrs. Dr. Melati Ferianita Farul MS as the Dean Faculty of Landscape Architecture and Environmental Technology, Universitas Trisakti, Mr. Marcelinus Nirwan Luru, ST MSI, as the third Vice Dean Faculty of Landscape Architecture and Environmental Technology, Mrs. Insinyur Hinayati Wijaya, MSI, as the head of Universitas Trisakti Landscape Architecture Department, Mr. Eko Adisetiawan, STMT, as the Secretary of Universitas Trisakti Landscape Architecture Department, our Honorable Professor from Universitas Trisakti Landscape Architecture Department, today our special speaker, Muna Yakin Sidar from the University of Jordan, and lastly to the Kenalan crew and our dear friends that participate in today's Kenalan. Before we start this event, please turn on your cameras and smiles because we are entering the photo session. They will be guided by Dila.
Okay, I will take photo session for the slide on. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, for the slide 2, 1, 2, 3, smile. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dila. Today is the first day of Kenalan event. 2022 is the third time Kenalan being held by the Trisakti Landscape Student Association. Kenalan is an abbreviation of Kepoin Anak Lanskap, which means getting to know with landscape architecture students around the world. So at this event, we will discuss everything and anything related to landscape architecture subject, study, or profession. Okay, carry on. Now we will play our national anthem, Indonesia Raya, with help from the crew, Vinka.
Indonesia
Okay, thank you, Vinka. Before we start next session, let us pray for the event to go well today. Let's pray begin. Pray enough. To formally take off our event this afternoon, it is my pleasure to invite Lola Rizka Amalia as the Chief Committee of Kenalan 2022 to deliver her opening address. For Lola, time and screen is yours.
Thank you, Hasni. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan. All precious goes to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for all the blessings that have been given so that we can all gather in a healthy manner at this event. I would like to thank the Honorable Mrs. Dr. Melati Ferianita Farol, MS, as the Dean of the Faculty of Landscape Architecture and Environmental Technology, Mrs. Insinyur Heni Jati Wijaya, MSI, as the Head of the Landscape Architecture Department, Mr. and Mrs. Trisakti University Lecturers, functionaries of Ormawa Faculty of Landscape Architecture and Environmental Technology, and all participants today. Introduce myself, I am Lola Rizka Amalia as the Chief Executive of this event. First of all, I would like to thank the lecturers who have taken the time to have the opportunity to attend today's event. And thank you to all participants who have contributed to the Kenalan event today. It should be noted that the theme of today's event is sharing and discussion, which is from of sharing session or discussion, and at the same time as a forum for exchange ideas for students in adding insight in the field of landscape architecture. Kenalan event is the umpteenth time this activity is held every year. This activity was motivated by the need for new insight from different perspectives regarding for the learning process of landscape architecture at different universities. This is useful for students, both new students majoring in landscape architecture and student active to gain new insight and knowledge about how students at other universities with the same major view the science and the practice of landscape architecture. That's all I can say on behalf of the committee. I would like to thank all those who helped run and make today even success. Hopefully, today's activity can be useful for all of us. Thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Lola, for the opening speech. Next, I would like to invite Yafara Fikoala as the Chief of the Landscape Architecture Student Association of Universitas Trisakti to deliver his opening speech. Time and screen is yours.
Thank you, Hasni. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan for all of us. Before we start this event, I would like to thank you to our Honorable Mrs. Dr. Melati Ferianita MS, as a Dean Faculty of Landscape Architecture and Environmental Technology, Universitas Trisakti. Mr. Marcelus Nirwan Luru, STMSI, as the third Vice Dean Faculty of Landscape Architecture and Environmental Technology. Mrs. Insinyur Hiniati Wijaya, MSI, as the Head of Universitas Trisakti Landscape Architecture Department. Our Honorable Professor from Universitas Trisakti Landscape Architecture Department. Our today's special speakers and my friends Muna Yakin Saider from Jordan University. And lastly, to the Kenalan Committee and our dear friends that participate in today's Kenalan. Today, we held the Kenalan event as a form of intellectuality for students who want to know about the world of lectures outside Indonesia, who want to know what they are studying as a student. Apart from that, this event is held so that the relationship formed by students are not only limited to Indonesia, but the relationship that are formed are international relations. So the expected output is the formation of cooperation space on the international scene. Hopefully, this event can run smoothly, and I thank you very much for all of you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Yava, for the opening speech. Next opening speech will be from Mrs. Insinyur Hiniati Wijaya, MSI IPM, which will be represented by the Secretary of the Department, Mr. Eko Adi Setiawan, SDMT, as the Secretary of Landscape Architecture Program of Universitas Trisakti. Time and screen is yours.
Thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's great pleasure for me to welcome you to International Student Association Trisakti University, Na Lan, with Trisakti University organizer of student association majoring in landscape architecture. I'm very thankful to you, Dr. Malati Periani Drapaflor, MS Dean of Faculty of Landscape Architecture and Environmental Technology, Trisakti University, for taking time out of your busy schedule to attend this event. I also wish to thank the committee who have organized this wonderful event. I'm especially honored to welcome two representatives from the University of Jordan and School of Planning and Architecture India who participate in this year to International Student Association Trisakti University, Na Lan. I can already see big potential from the participant. I hope that through this event, we all can learn to be a good and critical thinkers. I wouldn't like to take too much of your time, so I will hand it over to MC Bisani to process to the next agenda. Once again, welcome and thank you very much for attending this event. I wish all participants good luck. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bisani, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Eko, for the great opening speech and open this event. Okay, for the next session, will be led by our moderator, Tata. For Tata, time and screen is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Kak Hasni. Assalamualaikum, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Sajanata. I am a student from Landscape Architecture of Universitas Trisakti, but you can just call me Tata. I am the moderator for today's Kenalan. It is a pleasure for me to meet you all here, and I'd like to thank everyone for attending our event. And now with our today's topic, architecture and landscape contribution for country. Without further ado, allow us to invite our today's special speaker, Una Yakin Sidar from the University of Jordan.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Good afternoon. First, I would like to thank you for having me today, and I'm really honored to be at this event. I want to introduce myself to you. I'm Muna Sidr from the University of Jordan, and I'm an architecture student in my second year. So without wasting any time, let me start my presentation. I will share the screen. Right. So today I'm going to talk about some topics, and I hope you get something good from it. First topic is an explanation of how to flow process to work on a big task. As you know, when you want to complete any mission, you must go through some stage, and I'm going to talk about this stage. First stage is to understand and know the purpose and the nature of your work. This must help you to complete everything, to complete every stage in this mission and without any problem. Next stage is planning, which is the most important stage because it must include how to complete your mission and divided the steps into the required time to make sure you're not late and to make sure you're going in a clear plan. The next stage is to make your work plan, and it must be comfortable and it must be equipped with everything you need, and that will help you when you are working to not waste your time. Next stage is to start working, and when you start working, you must be completely focused without any problem or interruption. And the last stage is to present your work. You must present your work with the best way you can, and it must reflect the effort and the purpose that's required from this work. And the way you present your work, it's influenced and makes perspective whether worst or bad. Now I'm going to move on to the next topic, which is the challenges that every architecture students go through. When you want to complete a project, you must go through some stage, and each stage has its challenges. In general, the biggest challenge is to continuous creative thinking and keeping pace with the prevailing trend in the world of architecture. Sometimes the difficulty lies to translate your idea into lines in paper, which is you translate your idea, then make it fit the desired spatial function that are requested, and while taking into account of meaning of movement, beauty, and safety at the same times. And of course, as you know, architecture is a difficult measure, and pressure is your friend all the time because it's always more work to do, and there's always no time, and you must always work on yourself to make everything looks better and to develop yourself and your skills. And one of the biggest challenges is self-education, because when you say self-education is a main thing in architecture, and it's difficult because it's difficult to obtaining a source of information, and you must always practice. You must practice how to think, how to draw, how to work on computer programs, and you must practice how to improve yourself and develop your skills. And now I'm going to move on to the third topic, which is how architecture contribute to the country. The distant depth architecture reflects the city's modern image and enhances it from an aesthetic point of view, which positively affects tourism, the country, and economic situation. Sometimes architecture represents a culture of the country. In Jordan, the ancient culture occupies a great place in it because it reflects the history of the civilization that passed through the region. I want to talk about Petra because, in my opinion, it's the most impressive and important architectural thing in Jordan, and due to its popularity among tourists. Its architectural style was Nabateans, incorporating the influence of the Assyrian, Egyptian, Greek, and Roman civilization. It attracts the attention of tourists, scientists, and architecture because of its many advantages. Also, I want to show you some architectural examples, modern architecture examples in Jordan. This is a hotel in Dead Sea and Wadi Ram's desert, Sheraton Hotel in Amman, and Green Alia Airport, and Amman Royal Hotel. All of these examples are positive for the states, and it developed architecture minds in Jordan, and it helps develop the prevailing building style in Jordan. Now I'm going to show you a case study of a project that I made last year's. This is my last year project. It was a supermarket that is located in the University of Jordan. The site was full of palm trees, so I considered disadvantages and start to make a grid from trees and as a concept for my design, and taking into account the qualities of the foliage, and especially the sharp angle, and ends up to be a triangle shape. This project is around 400 square meters, and the land area is it's about 1,200 square meters, and it was 2 floors. It contains a showing area, sitting area, bathrooms, office, and storage. The material were used are concrete and glass, and this is the mass model and the model in detail to show the whole building. And that's it. Let's bring us to the end. Thank you for your time and attention.
Okay, thank you very much, Mona, for your wonderful presentation. I have eyes for the infamous Petra in your country. It is an amazing historical legacy, and I'm a big fan of history. But have you been there, Mona? To the Petra?
Yeah, of course, I've been there a lot.
Oh, is it near your house?
No, actually, it's far away, but it's worth to go to it. It's really a good, a beautiful place to visit, and I hope you sometimes go and see how beautiful the architecture there, and the stones, the pink stone, and everything in the natural is really beautiful.
Yes, I would be very glad if I can go there someday. And the big project, was it you're doing? It is very cool, and it's very complicated.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I do it. I do it.
Okay, maybe before we get into the question and answering session, there will be the next presentation from Yafa Arafiku A'la about the landscape architecture and the student organization in Universitas Trisakti. For Yafa, are you there?
Halo, Rica, Portata, halo.
Yeah, Bang. How are you doing, Bang?
Alhamdulillah, I'm good. I'm in very good condition as well. Thank you. How about you, Rica?
Yeah, I'm in a very good condition too. So maybe without further ado, for Yafa, the time and screen is yours.
All right, thank you. Maybe for the crew, can you help me to share my presentation? Okay. Thank you, Finka. Next slide. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya. Salam kebajikan. Best wish to all of us. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Yafa Arafiku A'la, as a student of Landscape Architecture University Trisakti. And for your information, Universitas Trisakti located in capital city of Indonesia, exactly in West Jakarta. And now I was entrusted to serve as a chief of the Landscape Architecture Association for the 2021 period. With the name, our cabinet is Kabinet Anagata. Next. Okay, so in this slide, I would like to discuss about important course in landscape architecture in my college. So the first one is botanical taxonomy. We study how plant grow, plant organ, and the type of plant according to their ecology, which is the course will be useful when we are doing the conservation or selecting plant species in the project. And next, the Nirmana. Nirmana is the organization of arrangement of visual elements such as points, line, colors, space, and texture into a harmonious whole. Beside of that, we also study spatial composition, which will be useful when we are doing the design concept to form a good space transformation. And the next course is Studio Landscape Design and Planning. This one is a main major course because in this course we will design a site with a range of area start from 1,000 square meter to approximately until 5 hectares. In this course, we carry out an inventory of data to synthesis on the site, and also in this course we have to calculate the need for the budget plan or BOQ. Okay, next is study tour. Not only a study in indoors, we also study outdoors, like we observe an urban and also a natural environment by research on field studies. And in this course, we usually go to Singapore, Bali, Solo, and so on. And the next is introduction to building architecture. Not only about plans, we also studied the basic science of building architecture in theory, such as studying building facade, building circulation, and the development of ancient to modern building style. So we learn about architecture building too. Okay, next slide. All right. In this slide, so we will talk about workflow on landscape design project. So in this point, I would like to explain about the stage the Trisakti landscape architecture student doing the design aside. The first one is preparation. In this first stage, we research for secondary data on the internet to determine the location for the survey. Then we also have to know what the type of data we take. After preparing it all, we also have to prepare survey tools. And what I usually use is meters, cameras, drone, and stationary. And then the next stage, we will do the inventory. At this stage, we collect all the data that is in the field, such as the type of vegetation, the width of the road, how the circulation and accessibility are there, how are the user, how are the facilities, and so on. And the next stage is we will do the analysis. After doing a data inventory, we can analyze the data that we have collected, and then in the analyze, we determine the potential and problem at the site. Type of analysis that we usually do, such as facility and user analysis, climate and vegetation analysis, topography and drainage analysis, and others. All analysis must be related to each other. We cannot do analysis without correlation with the one another. The next stage is concept and design. After we do the analysis, we can create a concept to solve the problem that exists on the site. The concept is the form of the concept of space, the concept of circulation, the concept of vegetation, the concept of utility, and other concepts. At this stage, there will also be a space requirements program, which is the table will explain all the facility requirement according to standard in the order determine how many the capacity of facility. And this stage also we after do the concept, we will make a schematic design, site plan, planting plan, and detailed engineering design or DED. Next slide. So we will talk about problem and challenge in design. The problem experienced by students are indeed very common, and the first is literature. The first experience is the lack of the literature because it's so difficult for us to get the last book and theory at this time due to the limitation. And the next problem is idea. Maybe this is a common problem for my student, for any student, because sometimes we like to run out of ideas at designing. So sometimes we spend so much time in think and decide the ideas, and we will running out of the time to the another goals assignment. The solution we take in looking for ideas, we usually look a reference on the internet, Instagram or Pinterest as a stimulant in the determining idea. And the next problem is intention. Intention is also one of the obstacle for students, because we get any kind of distraction such as we like to procrastinate our tasks, doing other activities that are more interesting. So we lose the track of time. And maybe for native Indonesian, we all know the term of mager. Mager is malas gerak in bahasa, or lazy to move. For example, when we are on well sleep and we remember there is a task deadline, but it feels like when we try to get out of the bed, the gravity on the bed feels like so strong that it's very difficult to sit in front of laptop to work. That's a common problem. All right, next slide. Oh, here I have a meme from internet. This is the relatable and the ones happened to myself. Where when I was making a concept illustration with freehand, and my lecturer asked me, "What picture is this?" And she said, "This picture is not very architectural." And I work for that drawing sketch. It's very carefully, and it's become for funny story for myself. All right, next. All right, so right now we will talk about contribution for country. The role of landscape architecture for the country can be said to be very important, because nowadays human build buildings and without paying attention to ecological consideration sometimes. So this causes the greenhouse effect, which is currently increasing than what we do. What we do is, the first one is environmental balancing. We as a landscape architect should be an environmental balancer. When modern era 4.0 discuss about modern or basic building, we also need to discuss what the impact on the environment is, and the need for reservation in every building or residential area, such as regulation outlined by Indonesia, which from total citywide must have 30% for green open space. So that's the regulation in Indonesia. All right, next. Okay, nature conservation. In addition to discussing an urban area, we also play a role in the preserve the habitat of flora and fauna that exists in nature. Because the term landscape is a huge landscape, then flora and fauna are included in living things that we must protect and preserve together. And as an environmental action movement, we are student landscape architecture major takes environmental action every year by planting mangrove trees in Jakarta in our annual events, namely Hijau Jakarta. Next. Next is design of Indonesian new capital. The capital city of Indonesia is currently located in Jakarta, but currently the capital will be moved from Jakarta to Kalimantan. before the transfer is carried out, a new capital design competition has been held, and the winner is one of the alumni from Trisakti Landscape Architecture. Until now, the progression of the new capital city is still being pursued by landscape architecture and several other disciplines. Next. So we'll talk about the big project, and the case study is Pancawati Resort. So we as a student majoring in landscape architecture have a big design task. And here an example of the task I take to describe assignment of second studio with the range of area is 1.1 hectares, located in Pancawati Resort, Bogor, Indonesia. At the data inventory stage, I did it online because the location of the site was quite far and it would like to hard to access. Then the site was vacant land where a resort would be built. The area is a highland and controlled area. Briefly, from the secondary data, I found the data on soil, climate, users, accessibility, and others. Next. Okay, in this slide, we talk about analysis. At this stage, I did site analysis and accessibility, where after we analyze and we get result such as the slope of the contour of recommendation for the destination of the facilities, so that we could determine the location of the facilities according to the slope. The similarity of the site is 0 to more than 15%. And besides that, I also found vegetation problem there, such as there is alang-alang or Imperata cylindrica that is not maintained so well, and the soil is too clay. Okay, next. All right. The next, there is the site analysis, where here we analyze the potential of each slope. For example, in area B with the slope of 5 until 10% has a suitable potential to become an active activity area and become a camping ground. So in area B, this is for the active activity. All right, next slide. Now we entering into the concept. Here is a bubble diagram where the bubble diagram explains the relationship between space regarding our concept, what is connected and what is not related by circulation. Next. All right. Next, this is the concept of space, along with its reference image as well as the information available on this concept, such as what the impression of the created space looks like, the concept of the shape of the space, and what the pavement concept looks like. So that's the information what should be in there. Next. So we will talk about the green concept, how the vegetation in each area is, whether its function is aesthetic or shelter, and the criteria for flowering or colored leaves as well, in the habitus for the tree, shrub, or ground cover. So in this green concept, we talk about that. Next. In the circulation and utility concept, we discuss how wide the circulation is that we need, what the type of landscape furniture we want to use, and how the drainage system will be used. Next. in this picture, I want to explain design it based on the counter and only slightly engineered the counter. So we can see these pictures that I designed from the counter, from the basic counter. Next. So this is the schematic of design and site plan from the concept that I used, where the theme I used was a journey with nature, which means that nature always feels like it has a physical relationship with universal soul or spirit or God. Adventure with nature and mutual connectivity when visiting the resort is integrated by circulation in each of its area. So next slide. So this is the pictures that I placed on the site. Next. And this is this slide show the use of pavements material on the site I designed, and I present it with the orthographic view technique. So in here I use wood deck, nature stone, grass block, asphalt, stem concrete, andesit, and many others. Next. So in this slide, this is an example of DED or detail engineering design we're trying to unwork. You can see here how the trees, shrub, and ground covers blend to the suit their needs. Next. So this picture is just illustration that my design. Hello. All right. Sorry for my bad connection. And this is the picture, the illustration of my design. I made a ramp in here, so the disabled user still can use the facilities as well. And this is the main entrance. This is the cottage. This is the area of my design. This is and so many others in these pictures. Thank you very much for your time. That's all from me, and I'll leave it to the moderator. And thank you very much.
Wow, thank you, Yafa, for your wonderful presentation. While doing the big test project, do you have some difficulties? Maybe like the scale or the vegetation you had to use for your design?
Sorry, what? Can you repeat the question?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. While doing the task project, do you have any like the scale or the vegetation you had to use, the variety of it? Do you have the difficulties?
Okay. Actually, the difficulties has come from the area because there is so controlled area. So we should put the area with by contour. So that's the difficult because we have to cut and fill the area and with so many consideration other. That's it.
Okay, now from both of the presentations, I believe everyone has some questions to ask. So if the participant have any questions, you could turn on your microphone and ask, or maybe you can ask it through the chat column. Is there any questions you would like to ask to both of the speakers? Yeah, we got here from Dimastian Bintang. You can turn on your microphone and ask.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I wanna introduce myself. My name is Dimastian Bintang Wisasana. I'm from engineering major, University Muhammadiyah of Yogyakarta. I wanna ask, but what is the hardest subject in the architecture or landscape architecture major? Thank you.
So in my opinion, the hardest subject is design because it's the best and it's the main thing in architecture. And it's always more to learn, and you always have to work to make everything, to make your project look better. And everything you take in all other subjects, you must find the right thing to put in your project and make it fit with your design. But in the other hand, it's interesting and it's never boring, and it always contains movement, and that's the best thing in it. And it's cool to see your idea turn into a building.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, for me, the most difficult subject or course in my opinion are the studio and hand drawing, because the studio, especially in church studio, we have to make a synopsis, analysis until design, and we should make a report and a budget plan. And besides of that, because I have no talent for drawing, that's my problem, and that's my the hardest thing to do. So the hardest thing to do is freehand. That's really hard for me, and sometimes I have to difficult in hand drawing, just like that. Bintang. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Yapa.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, is there any other questions from the participant? Maybe if you have some trouble in your with your connection, you can ask it through the chat column. Yes, we have Munira Hayati here. Please turn on your microphone and ask.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Munira from Landscape Architecture Trisakti University, and I want to ask a question. But before that, I want to say thank you for the presentation. It's very cool. Okay, my question is, how do you find ideas for your design? Thank you.
Yes, so for me, I have, there's a lot of ways to find your idea. I will mention 3 of them that I usually use. First is site analysis, which can be completely relied upon to produce your project, and you take everything that reflects the site and try to turn it to something that you will take the advantage to your building. Second thing is you can look to the case study, and that helps you to know what and how to put the items in your design, and make everything with the right standards. And the last thing is a visual feed. It's a really good thing, and in my opinion, it's add a lot of positive characters to the building, because you just add things out of your box and make and always see more, and you expand your thinking. Yes, that's.
Okay, thank you for your answer.
All right. For me, your question is, how do you find ideas for your design, right?
Yes.
Okay. usually I look for ideas by looking for reference on Pinterest or on Instagram, because there are a lot of design reference, and don't get hang up on just one idea, but we can combine several ideas at once. And usually the ideas come in unexpected place and from unexpected activities. And the example for my experience, the idea come when I'm in toilet. It's like that. The idea is will come in every place, every unexpected time, every unexpected place. So the idea is should come just come in like that. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you too for your answer, Bang Eva.
Is it enough, Munira? Okay, thank you. While searching for ideas, the toilet one is very relatable, Java.
Of course, yes.
Yeah, maybe anybody has other questions?
Yeah, excuse me. May I?
Yes, Miss Mati.
Yeah. Muna and Yafa. Muna, your presentation of architect is very interesting. Just like Java presentation about the landscape architecture in Indonesia, also very interesting. In comparison, I want to ask to Muna about landscape architecture is also as a concern in your country. So how about this developing there about the landscape architects in your country?
So
Yeah,
actually,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your question. Actually, I'm an architecture student, so we just take landscape as a subject in the last year. So I really don't know so much information about it. But in Jordan, we landscape is very important because we have a lot of space that we can use as a landscape project. As I said at first, in Jordan, hotels are special, and we have a special landscape in the hotels and in the ancient architecture.
Oh, sound good. Maybe next time we can you show us about the landscape architect in your country, especially in your city. How about your city? Where is your stay in Jordan?
I stay in Amman, in the capital.
Amman, okay. Maybe we can visit there, yeah, Yafa. If COVID has gone, we can visit. You can visit to Indonesia, especially in Jakarta, and we go to Yaman, or Jordan, yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Amen.
What semester are you now, Muna?
Sorry, what?
What years? Yours.
Second year, second semester as well.
Second semester. Oh, okay. Okay, Gatsa. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Hello, Tes.
Ya, Geca, masuk.
Okay, maybe from the participant, do you have any other questions? You can raise your hand and on your microphone, or yeah, we got here from Farida Fitriani. You can turn on your microphone.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me introduce myself. My name is Farida Fitriani Aribowo. from Landscape Architecture of Universitas Trisakti. And first of all, I would like to say thank you so much for the amazing presentation from both of you guys earlier. I feel like now I know a little bit more about architecture and landscape architecture in general. That aside, I'd like to ask a question. Does the architecture or landscape architecture in your country have a special design? For example, does it use materials in each building? Does it use mostly local materials that's available only on that country, or does it use materials from all over the world?
Yeah, so in Jordan, stone and concrete are the common materials because of two reasons. First is the geographical location, which is between mountains. That means we have a lot of stone. Second is the second reason is the weather factors, like wind, humidity, and heat. These factors affect the building, so that we must use stone to make the building long term. And recently, wood and metal chip are used, but they are used in the short-term designs because, as I said, the weather can't help these materials in the building.
Okay, thank you for your answer.
Okay. Discussing about the specific of design, we will talk about design theory in it. And currently, what we Trisakti students are talking about is the healing garden. The healing garden itself has many functions at this time. It can be used a form of relieving stress due to this pandemic. It can be a method approach in reducing mental health, and the derivative of the healing garden is a therapeutic landscape, where it can create a healing therapy for people who are sick, being sick. Talking about this healing garden, this is a very relevant at this time because many people are stressed because this pandemic is too long. And the function of the outdoor space is not only to be a recreation function, but also to add a healing function. The indicator in this healing garden is designed with attention to color, sound, aroma, and so on. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, is that enough, Farida?
Okay, thank you so much for both of the answers.
Thank you, Farida, for your questions. Maybe anyone like to ask again? Maybe we will open for the last question.
May I ask?
Does anyone want to ask?
May I ask some questions, Tata?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe this question. Yeah. I want to ask for Muna about, is landscape architect is best known in Jordan, or the scope of the work of landscape is included in only architecture, just architecture, or is there any landscape architecture specifically? Do you get my question, Mona?
Yeah. We have architecture and we have landscape architecture. We have it's separated, and each one has its own subject and its own like measure. It's not the same. It's not without.
Okay. But do people know about landscape architect? Most of people.
Actually, no, I don't think, because in Jordan we just the important thing is how to make the building more functional than it's beautiful and has a great landscape.
I see. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Mona.
You're welcome.
Yeah, maybe for the last question, is there anyone who would like to ask to both of the speakers? Maybe we will wait for a few moments.
May I ask another question?
Yes, Farida.
Yes, so my question is, what are the assignments on your campus usually like? And maybe if you could tell how the final term assignment would look like?
Yeah. So in my university, we have 7 submission per semester to complete a whole project. First stage is site analysis, and it's teamwork. And in this stage, we study all the factors that affect the site and put it in one panel to make sure we consider these factors in the design. Then we move on to the concept, which is the most important thing in design. And we start to make the form and developed it to reach the final form. Now, then we start with plans and we make sure that we make it functional and consider the movement, safely, and beauty at the same time. And then we move on to the elevation. We identify the opening and the materials that we're gonna use. And last thing is landscape, and we make the corridors and the entrance and the sitting area and trees area and all of these details. And the pre-final and the final submission, we put everything in one panel with rendering and submission a model with all detail to show how the building will be in the real life. And that's it.
Okay, for me, the final project is indeed quite difficult. Just like the study work that we always do is one of the big tasks, because apart from making a design concept with all the design process in it, we also have to make a report on the task, and after that, we will run a test trial to determine pass or not. And besides of that, the difficult things is to do scientific research, and the third of studio, the total area of mine right now is to 21 hectares, and that's a huge area that's so difficult right now. That's it.
Okay, thank you for the answers, and thank you so much for the amazing presentation earlier.
Thank you, Farida, for your questions, and everyone for your questions. Thank you so much. Maybe that will be the last questions. The next session will be return to MC. Thank you, Bang Yafa. Thank you, Muna. Shukran. Thank you, everyone, for having me. And have a good
Okay, so Nuwon, it's 10 minutes until the end of the first day kenalan. On behalf of Universitas Trisakti Landscape Architecture Student Association, I would like to say thank you and a huge appreciation to Mona Yakin Sider for sharing with us their precious experience and knowledge. Also, we are very grateful for the attendance of the Universitas of Jordan, Unitary Landscape Architecture student, Institut Sains and Teknologi Nasional, Institut Teknologi 10 November, Universitas Sultan Ageng Tirtayasa, Universitas Gunadarma, Institut Teknologi Sumatera, Universitas Muhammadiyah Surakarta, Universitas Tribuana Tunggadewi, and Oyster College of Architecture to attend this first day of kenalan. As a token of appreciation for Muna and Yafa as a speaker, and also Tata as a moderator, valuable contribution on today's kenalan, we would like to present a certificate of appreciation. For the crew, take the documentation.
Thank you very much, Formuna, to be our special speakers, and this is the electronic certificate that we will send for you. Thank you so much, Muna.
I'm sorry, my internet connection go off.
It's okay. This is the electronic certificate for you because very thank you for your presentation and to be our special speakers for today. And this is an electronic certificate that maybe we will send to you.
Okay, thank you so much for hosting me today, and I'm really honored to be in this event.
Thank you. The documentation through. Ice, would you like to help me?
Of course. Okay. Documentation starts in 3, 2, 1. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, maybe Lola or just take a picture. Thank you very much.
Okay. Done.
Thank you, Ice. And this is for our special moderator. Thank you very much, Daitsa Janata, for your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you to, thank you for everyone.
Okay. Documentation starts in 3, 2, 1. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Ice.
Okay, and now we are entering today's last session. Please turn on your cameras and smile because we are entering the photo session. They will be guided by the crew.
Okay, slide one. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, for the second slide. 1, 2, 3, smile. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for all speakers and participants. This is the end of session of today Kenalan. See you on tomorrow at the second day of Kenalan. Tomorrow's speaker is from India and from our student, so don't miss out. Bye-bye, see you. Shukron.
Thank you very much, Muna.
Muna.
Syukron, Muna.
Thank you very much, too.
Terima kasih Bapak Ibu yang sudah menyempatkan waktunya. Besok ada sesi kedua dari rangkaian kenalan ini. Teman kita dari India, Gopal. Mungkin sekian yang bisa saya sampaikan. Terima kasih banyak Bapak Ibu yang sudah hadir.
Oke, keren. Luar biasa acaranya. Bang Yava dan tim.
Terima kasih banyak
Sukses ya.
Terima kasih Bu.
Sukses ya, acaranya keren.
Terima kasih Boneka.
Terima kasih Bu.
Terima kasih.
Ya, Pak Eko, anak-anak keren.
Ya, makasih Bu.
Mantap.
Ya Bu.
Oke, saya live ya.
Ya, izin live ya. Ya, makasih Bu.
Makasih
Bang
Pak.
Yava, saya izin ya, besok mungkin nggak ikutan ya.
Ya,
Iya Ibu.
Iya Bu. Terima kasih banyak
Oke,
Bu.
sukses ya untuk acara selanjutnya.
Amin,
Saya
Ibu.
besok ada
Amin.
juga. Ya, oke.
Baik, Bu. Terima
Assalamualaikum.
kasih banyak.
Waalaikumsalam.